A number of you have been asking questions around the threats in this case, the concerning statements, as well as the gun purchase. Brad asking, how did she qualify to buy a gun? The complexity in all of this has to do with the fact that she lives in Florida. Now, that's a state that recently outlawed all gun sales to people under the age of 21. Here in Colorado, people between 18 and 20 years old are allowed to legally buy shotguns. 9 Wants to Know investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen has been looking into this issue. And Chris, first things first, we know that this weapon that she purchased locally, that was about noon on Monday.
That's true, Collins, at a gun store less than 2 miles away from Columbine High School. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary on the visit, according to the owner.
It's really upsetting.
At Colorado gun broker, Josh Rayburn knows the world might look at his store a little differently today.
I just wanted to let everybody know how upsetting it is.
Upsetting and unforeseen, he says, considering he says he did everything right.
It was a real normal transaction. There was no flags at all.
She filled out the paperwork. The state came back maybe 10 or 20 minutes later saying this.
She could take possession of it as soon as she's approved.
Here in Colorado, 18-year-olds can buy shotguns. Not true in Florida, where Sol Pais lived, after a law change last year upped the minimum age to 21.
She said she was out here visiting friends and wanted to go shooting and possibly hunting. She talked about turkey hunting.
Turns out, according to NBC, Pais looks to have been quite interested in purchasing here prior to her arrival, pushing this question to an online forum on guns. Florida resident here. I am planning a trip to Colorado in the next month or so and want to buy a shotgun while I'm there. And I was wondering what restrictions apply for me. The date of the question, March 29th, a little more than 2 weeks ago. So here's where things get a bit complex. Federal law says quite clearly that if someone tries to buy a gun in a state that's not his or her home state, the licensed dealer must follow the rules of both states. That did not happen here, but even the Colorado Bureau of Investigation just told me within the last 15 minutes, as of now, quote, there is no indication of any unlawful transaction. Kyle?
Chris, everybody wants these issues around background checks and gun purchases to be safe as instantly as possible. And in fact, they try to make these processes as instant as possible. But at the end of the day, it comes down to people making decisions, inputting information, and then interpreting what they're supposed to do.
And that's precisely what happened in this case. That InstaCheck came back within 20 minutes. It came back cleared. That's when the dealer sold that shotgun to this individual.
All right, Chris Vanderveen, thank you for your work.